If you go to the PPR, we'll look at the contents first. So these are all the regulations which come at the beginning. So this is part 2, but this is not what we're talking about when we're talking about part 2 poisons. So keep going down. We're still in the table of contents. So we come down to here. Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, these are all the lists of different drugs that are relevant to drug classification. When we're talking about this particular question, which was asking us about the Part 2 drugs, we want to look at this part here, Schedule 10 poisons list, which is the very end. It's got like a page number here, S10-2, so you need to go down to the bottom of the document. Okay, so when you locate it, it's on S10-2, which is page 215 if you have it on your PDF. This is Schedule 10, and this is where the poisons list begins. Have a quick read through of this part, the interpretation part. Okay, so here is where the poisons list begins properly, where it says Part 1, the list of drugs which follow are all Part 1 drugs. This list won't contain every single drug that is registered in Hong Kong, but it will contain the majority of them. The poisons that won't be on this list include most of the antibiotics, some dangerous drugs, and non-poisons. So if it's not on the P1 list, have a quick check through the P2 list as well. If it's not there, then you want to check on the Drug Office's classification guide and check that it doesn't come under one of these group headings. And then if it's not there and it's obvious that it might be an antibiotic or a dangerous drug, then check on those lists. And if it's not there either, then it technically is classed as not a poison or a non-poison. And I would double check that with the Drug Office's website, that search drug function. Okay, so yeah, this is a very long list. And if you keep going down, you'll eventually reach the end of the list. So let's do that. So printing it out is an option if you prefer to have it physically in your hand to help you understand the layout of this document. Although, yes, it will be many, many pages, so it's just an option for you to consider doing. Okay, so you keep it scrolling down, okay, and then you'll eventually reach the bottom of the Part 1 list. Okay, so, and then, well, you reach the end, and then there'll be Division B. Okay, we're not hugely interested in Division B drugs. These are like the non-medicinal poisons. I think you should have a quick read-through of it, but I wouldn't spend a huge amount of time memorizing it. And there's not much here anyway. If there's a small possibility they might ask you something about Division B poisons, but at the most it may be like 1 point. Okay, so now we've reached the end of the Part 1 drugs, and here is where the Part 2 drugs begin, page 268. So this is worth reading through and studying. Here, Part 2 drugs are the drugs which LSPs, or listed seller of poisons, are allowed to sell. Antihistamine substances which aren't in Part 1 are Part 2. So what this means is that antihistamines are not ever non-poisons. They're either Part 2 or they're Part 1 drugs. Alpha chlorelose, actually I'm not sure what alpha chlorelose is. I doubt that will come up in the exam. Okay, so clotrimazole would be a Part 1 drug, but if it's actually in a product and it's specifically labeled for the treatment of tinea pedis or tinea cruris or both, then it can be sold by an LSP. It's a Part 2 drug then. And here's loratadine, labeled specifically for the relief of allergic rhinitis only, then it can be sold in LSPs. Okay, and here's nicotine. This one is kind of interesting. So here it's saying that pharmaceutical products retailed containing a poison in Part 1, so long as it doesn't exceed the equivalent of, and it's got like a list of percentages here. I mean, have a quick read through. It's unlikely you'll be asked about these particular alkaloids. They're very, very rarely seen. This one, mercurochrome, the older exams asked about mercurochrome. Yeah, it's worth having a quick read through just in case they ask about it. I don't think they will. But it's saying here that if a Part 1 drug is 0.1% or less, then it can be sold in an LSP. I don't know any examples off the top of my head, but that's what this is saying. Okay, unless we're talking about, and so it continues, unless it's a Schedule 3 poison, or unless it's in this following list. So for example, codeine. And it's basically saying here that even if there is a product containing codeine or any other poison in this list here, even if it is 0.1% or less, it still can't be treated as a Part 2 drug. So that's what that means. Okay. I think I saw one question one time asking about phenols, but yeah, have a quick read through of that. You're not likely to be asked about phenols, but this terbinafine, I think this is a common product. It's worth making a note of this as well.